If you've ever taken a single vacation day on a Friday and your entire community thinks you've been canceled, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Live Trading. Yeah, we're back. We didn't go anywhere. We had a couple of things to take care of today, but we're back. We're going to break everything down. 13's in the back. Everything is fine, folks.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
Hello and welcome back, folks, and happy Monday. I hope that you all had a great weekend. Sounds like there was some confusion on Friday. We'll bring Zunaid on maybe to talk about that a little bit. Unsure what happened as I had a scheduled day off, and I told you about that. I told you about that in advance. That's all right, though. We're back here. We're going to start by bringing on my main man, 13. 13, how you doing, man? How was your weekend?
Oh, it was fine. I was a little bit bummed I couldn't engage with anybody on Friday, but we had other things going on. I tried to see if there was a different, chat I could get into on YouTube, but I guess there was another show. So sorry I couldn't hang with y'all in the chat, but I'm here today. I'm on Pro, so let's go.
Okay, awesome. We will go ahead and break down. We're going to start with the SPY. I know we're a little bit late here. Zunaid had an interview, pre-market prep and all of that, but let's go ahead and break it down here. Zunaid, if you're there, I don't know if Zunaid is.
Yeah, I was going to say I can address it real quick if you want before
you
starts. Yeah. So on Friday, Ryan was out, and we had to go ahead and see who can go ahead and jump on and host it alongside 13. I typically do that. Unfortunately, I had a client meeting at 9:30 through about 10:15, and then AB, who typically subs in for me, had an in-person event with Dan Gilbert. So unfortunately, we didn't have anyone to co-host alongside 13, and so we had to go ahead and call it off. I apologize for the last minute notes. If you have any issues, please go ahead and blame Aaron Bree. It's always fun to blame him, but no, it was just internal. We just didn't have the staffing for it Friday morning, so my apologies. Ryan did not get canceled, 13 did not get canceled, nothing happened there. Just a little break for the fellas, and you guys are right back up and going. I'll be in the back slacking, but I'll come back and talk about some charts with the trading competition.
Okay.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, sounds good. And we will just jump on, Zunaid. We got Matt Maley today, so as long as he's not on, just jump on. We'll talk about that. We'll break it down. TradeZero right above. Check it out. Okay, thanks, Zunaid. Sorry about that. Here's what I will say, though, and you can take this to the bank. You can feel really, really good about this. The golf course that I played on Friday is the best one I've ever played. So put that in your hat. It was absolutely incredible. Took one day off, literally. Take a deep breath. Okay, now that we're back, though, it's time to break everything down. We're going to start here with the SPY. We do have kind of a big week coming here. We're going to have the Fed decision on Wednesday. And I know that there's a lot of talk about the, what the market's going to do, all of that stuff. 50 basis points, 25 basis points. I'd like to hear from you folks. Personally, I don't see us getting more than a 25, but perhaps that's a discussion for when we have some more time. Nonetheless, here, SPY a little bit weaker here in the pre-market today. You can see we're actually kind of flirting with this trend line. This is kind of where we left off last week. So market can really kind of do anything here today. I would say looking at it here, if we continue to break down maybe through 561, the market could continue to pull back. But these dip buyers, they have been relentless. And I am not ready to say that we're getting ready to start for a pullback here. We need to prove that. 13, what do you got on this one? On the broader market?
Yeah, for the SPY, last week we just had 5 straight days of just higher highs. Every day we just had a higher close than the previous. So I'm looking for some cooling off. Now, we might actually get that because starting over the weekend was the beginning of Asia's Moon Festival or Mid-Autumn Festival. And you're going to see some of those Asian markets close. So we'll end up getting some slower activity over here as well. Now, another thing that's also happening is there's a typhoon that is actually currently working its way through Shanghai right now, the worst they've had since 1949. So there could be some supply chain disruptions coming out of that port. So there could be a future headwind, just something to keep in mind. But I do expect that we'll see some slower activity this week, just because we're going to have fewer participation as a result of the festival. And we also have the FOMC decision, like you were saying. If we do get cuts, which I think we will, I'm personally looking towards the 25 basis point rate cut. 50 certainly on the table. I think that would be a little bit too much. It would send the wrong message to investors. It'd probably scare a lot of people out of the market, a lot of investors out of the market. So I think 25 basis points is what we're going to end up seeing. But we'll get down on let's see, the 18th. So a couple of days.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see how this shakes out here this week. Let's go ahead and take care of the movers really quick. Don't leave us hanging. Where did you play? I played the club at Lac La Belle. The club at Lac La Belle. And I'm telling you, if any of you folks get a chance to visit Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, please go there. In addition to the course being absolutely unbelievable, there's a huge history of golf there. It's almost like they have a museum on or built into the pro shop. Really, really spectacular. Food was great. People were even better. It was really awesome. Highly recommend it. Okay, really good stuff there. Let me see. Did I miss anything? No, I didn't get a hole in one. Was not even close. That should take care of everything. Okay, let's roll through the movers here real quick. Any leftover time, we will go through some of the charts that you folks want to see. We're going to start here with what's going on with my Intel chart? Okay, we'll actually cover Intel in a little bit here. First mover, though, is going to be ticker NCNA. This is November Charlie, November Alpha. New Canna shares trading higher after the company announced final data from its phase 2 study at the ESMO Congress on one of its drugs in combination with another drug for patients with metastatic melanoma who were refractory to or had replaced on a prior inhibitor therapy. So good drug news here. The stock's actually up 161%. It was up over 200% on that impulse move, which it pared back by about 50%. Good news here is when the volume really started to flow in here, this actually took a leg higher right now and is flirting with the VWAP. So as far as trading goes down here, if this breaks down, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some type of hold or maybe a curl or maybe even a tradable bounce to the long side if it comes down here into this range where it consolidated here in the pre-market. But if we're able to hold this level up here, which I've got at about 620, I think we can move through the VWAP and maybe challenge that $8 level. If we break above that, then maybe 10, but we'll go one step at a time. 13, what do you have here on NCNA?
Yeah, that phase 2 drug news is great. And as we often see with phase 2, that's just the segue into the next phase, which is phase 3, and it's going to be the most expensive and more expensive phase to deal with. So they are going to need some cash to raise in order to get through the entirety of phase 3. That they do have some on the balance sheet, about maybe a quarter and a half worth of runway. But as I said, quarter and a half, that's not going to last them. They're going to have to raise more for the phase 3 because that's much larger pool of people to study the drug with. Anyway. They have 1.64 million shares in the float. They had a 1 for 25 reverse split on April 16th. I mentioned this in the chat while we were talking earlier. It looks like as soon as we recapture VWAP, this might get going. It also would coincide with a break of $7. I think that's something to watch for. As soon as we get above that and start trading above that, we're going to be moving up. The level to break on that one is going to be 8. That is the pre-market high.
Yep.
And on Friday, this morning, we popped up to 871. So that will be the ultimate level that we go for. And after that, I have 960 as the upside target. So 7, 8, and then 870 and 960. Those are the upside targets for NCNA.
Okay, really good stuff. Jay, really quickly, is it better than Whistling Straits? I've never played Whistling Straits, but my buddy that has played Whistling Straits did say that it was up there. So really, really close. And yes, we do have some strong representation from Wisconsin here, and that's great. Wisconsin, probably my most vacationed state when I was a kid. Absolutely love it. Big nostalgic vibes. Okay, really good stuff. Let's keep moving on here. I know we're kind of short time. BBLG is going to be the next one. This is Bone Biologics. This actually dropped a little bit in the in the after hour session on Friday. We did rip pretty good here in the pre-market on volume. Bone Biologic Corporation to present at H.C. Wainwright 26th Global Investor Conference. This was from Wednesday of last week. Yeah. I don't see any other new news. I'm skeptical to see that this really has anything to do with this, as this took place last Monday, I believe. Yeah, September 11th. Here's the thing. I didn't see this, so I don't know if anything was discussed here. I don't see anything fresh here. Unless I know for sure that something took place here that's not printed in this newsfeed, to me, this just seems like kind of like momentum. Do you have anything? Did you cover this 113?
I looked at this one, couldn't find any recent news on it. It has a 1.76 million share float. The news isn't recent. As far as their cash position goes, they have a little less than 2.5 million in the bank, and they burn less than $1 million in cash. So they have a bit of a runway, but I don't know anything beyond that with this company. Looks like they just raised some money through the exercise of warrants. So that's about all I got with this one. If it provides some trades, of course we'll trade it. But I don't even have this one set up on my. Well, actually, I do have this on here. But so one of the things that we're looking for right now, just looking at the chart, is a recapture of VWAP. Let's just start there, and then we'll see what happens. But I can tell from this price action this morning that every time it's broken above VWAP, it's run really quick and then came right back in. So might see another instance of that happening. Goes to 175, comes right back in. Watch for a VWAP break and just be ready to exit if you're going to try and trade this one.
Indeed, and you really just kind of have to pay attention to some of the technical levels in here, because without a catalyst, this is pretty much all we're trading off of. Volume should tell the story. I'm with you pretty much on all of that here. 13. Next is going to be drama. You love this one. This one we've traded a whole lot before. Ticker DRMA, Dermata Therapeutics. Of course, not drama. We just call it drama because it provides drama. Pretty decent volume here in the pre-market. We did pop above 350. We've kind of pared back some of those gains, but really kind of the same deal here. We had the same newsprint from a couple of weeks ago about that H.C. Wainwright conference. I don't see anything else going on here with this one. Do you have anything here on DRMA?
Yeah, no news on this one. I thought it might have been relative volume, but it didn't seem like that's really the case here either. It does have 1.29 million shares in the float. They did a 1-for-15 reverse split back on May 16th. Their cash position, it seemed like they were okay. They have about 5 million in the bank, and they burn about 3 a quarter. So at least 1 quarter's worth of cash runway. Another company that's likely going to have to raise money soon, but no need for reverse splits. It seems that they've already got the float for that and the compliance, so no real need there. As far as levels go, looks like 290 is going to be one to watch for, and if it can get up to the pre-market high with in the morning when we first opened, that would be 358. So I'll be looking at that level as well to get above. So let's call it 390, 325, and 358.
230, one of those downside levels in addition to the upside levels 13 just gave. Really good stuff there. Okay, moving on. Next is going to be XCUR. This is XCUR. I know we've traded this one before as well. XCUR shares are trading higher after the company entered into a debt for equity exchange agreements. You can see the stock did pop above 3, although it's really kind of bleeding back, and we're getting the same type of behavior here. Well, sure, it tests right above that VWAP, but it doesn't really clear it and build and move above. So until that happens, or that's the next thing that we're kind of waiting on to happen here. This 230 area does look like a pretty decent support. The one time that we broke beneath it, we did reclaim it on volume, and so far I've held above it. So we'll see what happens here on XCUR. You got anything on this 113?
I didn't cover this one, but real quick,
I can keep moving on.
In the chat, Jonathan Cooper, it's probably going to have a little bit of a variant in the float, but 500K to 1.7 million, that's roughly the same area. We're going to see the same kind of movement on this one. And as far as CE goes, we'll cover that, Sean Shank. Let's let us get through these real quick, and then we'll get to space.
ZNTL, this one is running and ripping here. Zentalis, did I pronounce that right? Whew, that was close. The Zentalis pharmaceutical shares are trading higher after the company announced that the FDA lifted the partial clinical hold of studies of one of its drugs and remains on track to meet all previously disclosed data guidance for the remainder of 2024. So a pretty good look ahead there, in addition to the FDA lifting a partial clinical hold here. The thing that I like the most about this pre-market action, twice now, we've actually had an impulse move that we've resolved higher on with volume. That kind of tells me early on that this has some strength. Now, strength can dry up as always, but so far, this one really has it. 13, I know you covered this one. What do you got here? ZNTL.
Yeah, this was the one that we were looking at during pre-market or before the show started. I was telling you, this one looks like it's ready to go, and here we are. We're taking off. This one was lifted a little bit this one is moving on the FDA lifting that clinical hold. They do have 35 million shares in the float, so a little bit larger of a float than we usually trade here, but. The fact that it has a 34.85% short interest with 16.6 days to cover makes this a great short squeeze candidate, and I think that's what we're getting here. This company still does need cash, so even with that FDA clinical hold lift, it doesn't change the fact that this company still needs to get some money together in order to keep on going with their clinical trials. So I think the best case for this one is that we're just going to see a short squeeze here, and it could end up going. Maybe into the sixes. I have 640 is the next upside target for this one.
Okay, good stuff there. VRAX was the next one that I had on my list. Ticker VRAX, VRAX, which we should all be familiar with, by the way. This has been a frequent trader for us here today. VRAX Biolab shares are trading higher after the company announced it extended its existing exclusive distribution agreement with Cosmos Health, that's COSM, we've traded that one before as well, to market Mpox in real time through its PCR detection kit. So you're getting a PR here about detecting Mpox, VRAX popping above 4, pared back a little bit of those gains, holding right below VWAP. The volume has compressing, but we've seen this before in this very name where it does that, and then it kind of expands suddenly, and that does give an opportunity. So that's one of the things that we want to watch here. 13, what else are you watching on VRAX?
We'll see. This is just moving on the detection kits. It does have some higher short interest now. So I think ever since the movement has been happening a lot with this one, more shorts been piling into it since it's caused the price actions caused the stock to move up a bit. I think we might see a break of VWAP coming soon here, but this is going to be just a day trade. This thing moves all over the place. Like if I look at a daily chart, this thing popped all the way up to 9. Last month, and we're back down here at 350. So be careful with this one. It's going to be just one of those day trades, in and out. It's going to be the name of the game here. I wouldn't want to hold on to this one because it doesn't. I don't think the balance sheet looks that great, to be honest. But it's being driven by news. So there you go.
Yep, there you go. The only other one I had here on my list was ATPC. This is on the Gapper list, by the way, the one that's really kind of trading up here. I didn't see any news on this. I know we had some news Friday morning that's kind of baked into this, maybe just a continuation. 13, I would say if you don't have anything on ATPC, we can just move over to some of the other stocks that the group wants to say. I know we're 3 minutes till we start here.
Yeah, I don't have anything on that.
Okay.
I know I said I'd cover space real quick.
Let's do it.
I'll just cover Virgin Galactic real fast. I see that they have a high short interest, 22.63%, almost 5 days to cover. So they could squeeze here a little bit. As far as levels go, it's trying to come off a bottom, it seems. First step needs to get back above 7 and recapture that 50-day estimate. It looks like it's in the process of doing that right now. This thing has just been absolutely hammered. But let's see this get above or close above the 50-day SMA several times, and then we can start feeling better about going long on this one if that's what you plan to do. This one for me, I personally don't want to own this one. I don't get the appeal here. I don't think space tourism is really going to be a thing that you're going to see a lot of quite yet. But if you're looking to trade this one, let's just see that 50-day SMA get recaptured first.
Okay. Really, really good stuff there. I saw someone also mentioning Apple here. What is going on with Apple? This is actually a pretty good size down move for Apple, especially here in the pre-market. Apple shares are trading lower following reports suggesting that the company has experienced lower than expected demand for its iPhone 16 series. I'll be honest with you. They could be right. Maybe this particular iPhone isn't popular. I don't necessarily know the answer to that because I'm a Samsung user. I will say, though, as far as the stock goes, I've seen this more times than I can count with Apple, and every time the stock has resolved higher. So unless something is different here, maybe this is just kind of a short-term trading opportunity. The other thing that I saw over the weekend, and unfortunately I don't have stats, I'll try and dig it up, or I'll keep watching to see if we get more numbers. I actually heard that more people were trading up for the higher memory iPhone, which actually should be good for Micron, ticker MU, because I believe they provide some of the different memory modules in those phones. But that's what's going on there with Apple. It is kind of dropping here. Lynn and Randy, I saw, what do you guys consider low float? Generally speaking, I consider low float anything under 10 million. I know Jay Rice gave you the 2 million in float here. I consider this really low float, and then like ultra low micro float is under a million. We sometimes see those here. Just in a general bucket, low, less than 10 million. That's what I would say there.
15 seconds.
Okay, 15 seconds. We're about to open. I'm going to flip over to the main workspace here. We're going to get the scanner ready. We're going to get some opportunities flagged here. Let's see. We got basically just a couple of penny stocks on the relative volume scanner. Summit
did hit 30 like we were looking for last week. Got a little bit higher than that. I would think that maybe that comes in a little bit. So be careful with Summit this week, I would say. Could still go, but it's had a nice run, so I'd be a little more cautious at this point. Is all I'm saying. ZNTL is moving out of the gate here. 640 seems like that could be the upside target for this one.
Here we go. Nice little pop out of the gate there. I'll tell you what, I'd like this. Frankly, I'd like this to kind of pull back and flush before I feel like I have an opportunity to trade it. We'll see what we get. How about some of the bigger stocks? What are you folks on some of those bigger stocks? Jay, what are you looking to open up here? SMCI, I saw you mention that earlier. I see the SPY trading up out of the open. Okay, SMCI, first move here was down. We'll see if that ends up bouncing here at all. NCNA flirting with its VWAP there. That ZNTL still pushing higher. 13. I don't know about you, but I don't really see a trade in ZNTL until we pull back here. If you guys were long from the pre-market, maybe that's it. But,
when I had mentioned that it looked like it was going to break out, that was probably the time to get in. Let this movement pan out, and then let's look for some entry levels when it comes back in.
Yeah, NCNA here right beneath the VWAP. What do you think, folks? You think this takes it out here?
Maybe. Let's see it's got to recapture that VWAP and then get above 7.
Yeah, they just took it right there. A little bit of a pop above VWAP. We'll see if this goes any higher here. NCNA. It's trying. The next level that it really has to get over here is going to be that 7 level. Looks like that's coming here. We'll see what we get on a 7 test.
And let's see, Summit, that one's whipping around, still trying to go higher, but just be careful in this one. Lunar also getting a pop out of the gate up to 626.
NCNA.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say NCNA, it's coming up on that 7 test. There's not a whole lot of stock there. We'll see if they take it. Might pop. There we go. Popped above and going. So there you go. All right. There's one scalp, 1 for 1. That's how we start out a Monday. Fortunately, It's not a victory Monday here today, but we won't really talk about that right now. Jay Rice, Ryan, I'm about as light as I have been in a while. I don't like seasonality here. Day trades only and don't do a lot of them. Jay, I think that's really, really smart. This is actually something we've been discussing this week, by the way. 13, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. This week starts the really bad seasonality part of September, and this actually goes into October. So there we go.
That is correct. So just be very, very careful. If the day trades aren't working out as much as they used to previously, understand that we're in this type of seasonality. Don't try to force things. It's just going to end up in more pain.
Yeah. Right here, Joe, there is absolutely zero chance of a 50 basis point cut by the Fed this week. That is, you're pretty sure about that. For the record, I agree with you in the sense that I think it's going to be 25, but they had better cut at least 25 or else stonks go right into the August 5th 24 low. I don't know about the movement there. I'm with you though. I do think the 25 is coming. I really don't think 50 is coming. I'd like to hear from the group if you guys have different thoughts on that, or maybe how you'd even trade that. I'd love to hear about that, especially ahead of that actual print. Wednesday is going to be crazy enough. Looks
like DRMA is trying to break out of this consolidation from pre-market and go to VWAP. So keep an eye on this one. It looks really starting to pick up some volume here.
NCNA, after that 7 break, came right back into that VWAP area. That right there is telling me that one of the things I'm going to be looking for is just kind of being quick on some of the gains here today if we get them. ZNTL looks like it did pull back towards that VWAP, did not quite get to it. Yeah, didn't print it. Now right back on going towards the highs here.
Yeah, 720 break is going to send this thing up some more, maybe past 533, which is the current intraday high. VRAX still going down. Support levels are going to be at 290 and 275.
Kind of a nasty reversal here on SPY. Volume is not crazy, so maybe that's just kind of some back and forth here. But this was a pop out of the open and a reversal. What does that look like on a 5? Yeah, that looks even nastier on a 5-minute, frankly. We'll see if we end up breaking here. SPY coming in a little bit. I don't want to overreact early on, but that's what's going on here with SPY. Let's take a look at some of these other day trades. ZNTL looks like new highs coming here.
Yep, we got new highs after that broke past at 533. SQQQ, this thing is just taking off right now.
Yeah, how about that? My SQQQ hedge that I put on, yeah, that expired Friday. So, well, this is actually one of the discussions we've been having in Happy Hour regarding calls for SQQQ or option contracts of any kind versus the actual equity itself. And with some of these ETFs that are levered, obviously there's a decay process in there, but never as quick as some of those options. I even said as soon as I took those, I was like, I know things are good right now, but I probably should have bought the SQQQ equity instead of the calls. That ended up being correct. By the way, Tesla here pounding to the downside. So I'm sorry, 13, get in there.
TNON is another mover this morning. We didn't really cover it. I had a good reason why I didn't want to, but this one's also moving as well. It's above VWAP at the moment. I forgot. I don't remember the reason why I didn't want to cover this one. I just didn't think it had anything really worth discussing. But it's making some moves right now. It just looks like 910 might be the next upside target here. Anyway, just thought I'd mention that one since it's starting to get moving. I think Crow is also on this one as well.
Yeah, real quickly here, a couple of things worth mentioning here. First of all, we're going to start out with some register rings, I think. HB, nice little short there on Tesla. Nice. Way to go right out of the gate there. You love to see that. Jay, you were mentioning they're selling the Qs, buying small caps, transports, and Dow names. So the Dow is higher here. IWM higher here too. SPY coming back in and the Qs coming back in. So interesting. We'll see again if this really kind of keeps up here, but an interesting start nonetheless. VRAX, this is down. This is almost bear flagging down here, isn't it?
I like Jay Rice's comment. I also doubled my UPS position last week.
Which comment? Jay Rice makes many comments.
The one that you just had on the screen.
Oh, okay. The selling the Qs. Yeah. No, the rotation there. Yeah, I'm with you. HB looking to reverse here on Tesla. You're saying a long is staged there. Interesting. And NCNA, look, this really came back in. Boy, I guess I was lucky with that first scalp there. Sometimes I'd rather be lucky than good, though. XCUR, this is curling off the low. See if this... Actually, yeah, that pre-market low held here in the regular session on XCUR. Maybe a fill back up to that VWAP. XCUR.
Yeah, getting a pull in all of these names we were looking at this morning. Look at Summit go down. That thing was amazing. That up here. That thing was amazing last week. I think it was absolutely amazing. It went right past our target we were looking for, $30.
And this area right here, I know it's still above 30, but this was actually the top end of an impulse move from Friday. This also had a consolidated area where we broke out from on Friday. Could possibly bounce here. No position for me on Summit. And you know what else? Instead of trying to catch a falling knife, I'd actually wait on this one until it confirmed a curl. I feel like that's going to be, with some of these high flyers here, that's going to be a better way to trade than just trade it against the day low. We'll see here. It's 31 and change. We are trying to curl here. NNE halted to the downside. Okay.
Ooh, let's see what that's about.
Yeah, what happened here? Jonathan Cooper, you were all on that. I saw it. I don't have any news here. Uncertainty. Yeah, that was for the Saturday joint article. No, I don't see any news here. NNE just really kind of selling off. BBLG. So this did go through the VWAP It's full. It's holding right there at that high. Here we go. Now it's trying to go higher here. BBLG, no position for me on this one. See if this one goes here. Restoration Hardware. Robert, good to see you this morning, Robert. Hopefully you had a great weekend. We talked about this one. This Restoration Hardware, nice move post earnings, continuing to go leg higher here. Lynn and Randy had said that I guess Restoration Hardware is selling some of their stuff to restaurants to try and promote it. Some type of feedback loop in there. Restoration Hardware for more of the upscale clientele here, this moving higher. Carmen, I saw you were saying earlier in pre-market prep, I don't want to quote you without being accurate, so please correct me if I'm off base here. You were saying that you felt in your little shop that the customers are starting to tighten. That's something we've been on here for a while, and I think that you're probably likely to see that more in middle to lower end consumers as opposed to the high end consumer. Let me know if that was one of the things that you saw recently. Shaka mentioning Serve.
Yeah, and remember to be careful with BBLG. This thing has been popping and dropping all morning.
Hey, I'll tell you what though, that nice little move through the VWAP there, I would at least book some there. So Restoration Hardware owns the restaurant itself, Lynn? Sorry if I got that mixed up there. Yeah, BBLG, I would have definitely trimmed at this level. Not saying it can't go higher here, but at least pay yourself on the way up. You got the volume expansion we're looking for. We moved through two different key levels, the VWAP and that pre-market high that kind of stopped it earlier. So pretty good stuff there. 100% shoppers are tightening. Thank you, Carmen. I just wanted to make sure that I got your data point correct. Appreciate that. This is something that we've been anticipating, and I would not be shocked to see this continue as we move forward here.
And I believe tomorrow we also get retail sales. So we're going to find out more about that.
Carmen, some more data here. Last week was the first week all year we didn't hit our weekly sales target. Sorry to hear that, Carmen. We're obviously all pulling for you here, but we really appreciate the data that you give us.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, all year, that's a big change. No, I'm being serious. That's great data. I appreciate that. All right.
Oracle still trying to scream higher here on Oracle.
Man, lots of things just headed south. Looks like SPY is going to be losing 560 at some point soon.
Interesting note on Apple. We talked a little bit about Apple in the pre-market. Sorry about that. Apple did take another leg lower right out of the open. Buyers are trying to step in, but really needs to get above its VWAP here. That iPhone 16 sales headline clearly driving this even lower now.
MLGO is going.
Yeah, saw that on the scanner earlier. Just dropped off the scanner, but I did see that earlier. That's a penny, isn't it? Yeah, it sure is.
It's up to 26 cents. This is squeezing, it looks like.
Solar Edge a little bit higher here. How about ENPH? That's about flat here. So it's not a broad-based solar move. No, TAN's down 1%. Okay, that's just Solar Edge on its own.
DRMA is trying again. Needs to get past 250. So watch for volume expansion. It'll push it past 250.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. ZNTL, by the way, broke through the VWAP. It's pulling now. We'll see if ZNTL gets a little bit of support around 425 here. Let me bring it up. So we'll take a look at it together. I'd be curious to know what the group thinks about levels on this one. Not in this one, thankfully. I was telling you I really wanted to pull back. Man, we pulled and went right through that VWAP. No support there. 418, you're dead low, but really this kind of 425 to 435 area where we consolidated in the pre-market. We'll see if we bounce here.
Yeah, Jay Rice, some of those discount retailers are probably going to end up seeing a lot of business. So you got Ross stores, TJ Maxx, Marshalls. Those should all end up doing well as the consumer weakens. They're going to have to buy their clothes from somewhere. They're going to go to the discount retailers. Yep.
And all of this, I'll tell you what, all of these data points that we're discussing here pointing towards the exact same thing. Look at the daily chart on TJX here. Some of these companies where the customer trades down to them looks pretty good here. Looks pretty good here.
ZNTL just knifed down. See where it's trading
again. Is this a knife or is it that same knife? Sorry.
No,
yeah, I'll bring it. Yeah, same one. Okay, same one.
No, second. Well, I'm looking at a 5-minute chart. That's the second pull on that one.
Yeah, excuse me. And I realized we could have been looking at different time frames. Duh, this is the knife that took us through the VWAP that I was just talking about. Okay, Wheeler Crow was Wheeler getting ready here? Yeah, this did pop out of the gate. Looks like it ran right into resistance. Crow, nice trade there. Nice quick get there too, right? Put your chips on the table. When it moves in your direction, take them off, reset. I'm 1 for 1 here too. At this point, I don't actually feel the FOMO either, right? I'm more liable to wait for a good trade setup now that I've got some green on the screen here. Let's see, NCNA. Are we going to set up again? We're going to curl again here on NCNA. Good morning, Chris. It's good to see you. Sorry.
Looks like NNE is out of the halt, found a bottom at 12.12, trying to turn around. Probably end up seeing a rejection at VWAP if it gets back up there. DRMA, this one's still trying to push through out of the consolidation, and if it does, it's going to break through the VWAP. I have an upside target of 290 if that happens.
Crow saying, Ryan, it's only Monday. No need to jump the gun. Completely agree with you, Crow. Completely agree with you. I am going to start taking a nibble here on NCNA. We'll see if this goes. We're going to scale in on this one. Again, working off profit. So if this breaks down right here with a reduced position size, we're not going to be hurt. We're not going to give back our gains. Just trying to buy it lower. If it breaks that low, look out.
Then, oh no.
If it breaks that low, then oh no. Okay, I can get on board with that one.
Oh, that was terrible.
I'm trying to help.
BBLG, in his opinion, is going to go, says Crow.
Didn't it already kind of go? Yeah, this already kind of went.
It's trying to get. I think it's trying to get up to 175. It's above VWAP now, and it's been above it. So the fact that it's holding is good. Like it's now you're seeing it as support. I want to see a break of the 176 pre-market high though. Those wicks that we've been putting in all morning. Not sure about those. If we can't get above that, then I think that it's coming right back to VWAP.
Okay, NCNA coming to its low print here, 593 on NCNA. We'll see if this can actually hold here. That's looking a little bit rough.
Man, these are all looking pretty weak.
Yeah, they sure are.
Where are we getting the strength? Where's the strength coming from? What's moving that's robust?
XCUR coming back up.
Looks like SQQQ is about ready to go higher. Certainly it's got the formation.
Think we take another leg down there on SQQQ? And I can actually, excuse me. Jeez. A leg up on the SQQQ, a leg down on the QQQ. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Someone's got to stay on top of me here on a Monday. I'm all out of sorts.
Yeah, I mean, I think this whole Fed meeting is going to end up pulling some of these big Max 7 names down, because one of the big discussions we've been having is these Max 7s have huge cash positions, and they're really benefiting from these high interest rates because when you have that much cash in the bank, you're earning millions and millions in interest. So that's going to start to go away with these interest rate cuts. They're not going to just be able to get fixed income cash like that anymore. They'll still be getting it, but just not as much. So with that starting to dwindle, that might make these names less attractive.
So are you positioning yourself ahead of that, or are you going to are you just going to kind of react to whatever it is that you see?
I mean, I'm not going to sell out of any of these Max 7 companies. I've already trimmed enough of my positions on them that I want, but I'll probably end up just adding if they get down to a certain point. And I'm going to add more Google and Amazon at some point. So,
okay,
just have to wait. It's going to take some time.
Okay, I'm with you. Let me roll through some of the stocks here. NCNA, not breaking down yet. So again, we shall see here. NCNA. NCNA, got it right that time. ZNTL, maybe this is curling off that flush. See if we take VWAP out. The volume here still kind of compressing, not what we want to see. Not what we want to see.
Yeah, that the move down off of ZNTL and how weak it looks with the volume trying to get back up. If it does have any up movement, it's going to need a lot more volume to break back over that VWAP. I think we could be putting in a bear flag with that one. Just have to wait and see.
XCUR, nice call here, Crow. That did curl. That was a great little move from
nice.
220 right to the VWAP. We're actually above it here on XCUR. Really good stuff there, Crow. Really good stuff there. Wheeler came back to its VWAP here. Drama is giving the long some drama. Lower we go, it looks like on that one. Very, very little strength. Seeing a lot more strength in some of these other names here. By the way, I did see some NVIDIA calls getting bought there. Tesla calls as well. AMD puts. So it looks like it's kind of a mixed bag there. SPY, by the way, as we were talking about some of those little stocks here, SPY got bought right back to where it was.
Yep.
Right back to it.
Recovered. 561.
Yep.
Was getting bought up. We have plenty of time to see what this market's going to do, so not worried about what happens in the morning. What's up?
NCNA, New Canada's trying to get back to its VWAP. Remember last time it got slammed here. Let's see if this can get back up. Volume here again has compressed. So if this doesn't break down and this volume then starts to expand, I think that could be a long trigger for a play there.
All right, so ZNTL getting working its way back up to VWAP, but I have a
here we go.
I have a suspicion that it's going to have a hard time recapturing that. So let's see what happens there. VRAX, this is getting down to some support level. This could be finding a bottom pretty soon. You want to keep an eye on that one. And then E, looks like this one's trying to find a bottom. It's consolidating, but it could still ultimately go lower. So I'm not sure if that's done yet. Same thing with Serve. Everything looking a little bit weak here this morning after that nice open we had.
So Arlay, interesting. We traded this one one day when it started moving up. Then it had an offering, got absolutely crushed. Today, Relay Therapeutic shares trading higher after H.C. Wainwright maintained a buy rating, and stock moved from 18 to 19 on that price target. Arlay a little bit higher here. I don't necessarily see a trigger on this one, though. Volume less than impressive.
Wasn't H.C. Wainwright the one that was looking for a $30 price target in Summit?
Yeah.
Okay.
They had one of the higher ones. They're generally known for having some of those wilder price targets out there.
Well, I know that Arlay's no Summit, but I wouldn't take that price target with a grain of salt. It'd be something to watch for, especially if we continue to move up past that news.
All right, let's check in on
Looks like BBLG is starting to move again.
Q's, that opening sell-off that we had, that's pretty much bought back to flat. Now, we were lower in the pre-market, so we're still lower on the day here. But that kind of flush out of the open on the Q's got bought.
Shaka mentioning VKTX.
We can take a look at VK. That's been a great one.
Mm-hmm.
That's been a great one. That is trying to go higher here. VKTX.
Yeah, they have a catalyst coming in early November. They and JP Morgan has a catalyst watch on this stock as well.
And we have some recent price targets here. Yeah, I mean these were from March. Let me see if I can find some of the recent ones here. This 105, reiterating, Morgan Stanley reiterated a 105. That was from September 12th. July 25th, we had Raymond James go to 118 on that price target. Strong buy. So there's some analysts that think this is in a 100 handle. Here we are, just kind of. I gotta reset my chart here. Sorry about that. Chilling in a 67 handle.
If you're on Viking and you're going to be an investor and you want to really get into the meat and potatoes of it, they have a phase 1 data reading that they'll be doing at Obesity Week in November in San Antonio. So That's probably something you're going to want to pay attention to, because that could be the catalyst that sends it back up again in a very, very meaningful way. So I believe it's November 6th is the last day you have to decide, because then the weekend happens, and then the conference will already be underway by the time the week starts again.
Yeah. Okay. BBLG, looks like this is moving a little bit higher here. Crow, I think you're all over this one. BBLG.
Yeah, I was just mentioning
SPY ripping. Sorry.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is. Look at this. Here, I'll bring it up here.
Oh,
BBLG is trading higher here, so mind that if you're trading that. But look at this move on SPY.
Maybe Jonathan's right. Maybe they do rip into the meeting.
Boeing went red to green. That tells you there's some strength out there.
Or it just got beaten up enough. Yeah.
I'm just going to kind of flip through a couple more of these. Lattice Semiconductor, this strong here. Did this have news? Appoints Ford Tamer as CEO, effective immediately. New CEO here, ticker LSCC. That stock up 10.5% on the back of that news.
Yeah, Boeing still looks like there's more downside ahead. That's just what I see. Okay, so SPY trying to get up to the high from Friday, which was 63.03. We're less than 50 cents away.
Cade Father, this rip is low volume, not trusting it. I think that's smart. I think that's smart, my man.
It's hard to see, it's hard to see that sometimes, because the spread will make you think that, oh, the volume's there. And when you see that, you have like these 20-cent spreads and it's only moving up on like several thousand shares, you're just like, oh, never mind. BBLG approaching 175.
ZNTL, by the way, rejected at VWAP. We'll see if it's got a little bit more strength the second time around. Here is your BBLG. What's going to happen at this pre-market high, 13?
Well, my thought is that if we do get a pop over it, it's going to be a short-lived one. And if we don't, then it's going to come right back down after we hit 176. I don't know that this thing runs. It doesn't really seem like it's got the volume. But we'll see. Arlay, that one's it's not really doing much.
I see some TSM calls coming across. This must have been closed. Yeah, those are closing ones. 10 million. Wow. 135 calls being closed up here.
Oh man, this OPK. At least Summit's coming back in. Which one?
OPK, ticker OPK. I don't think anything's going on with it.
OPK. No, it's had some well, I mean it's up like 5 cents, but it's the chart looks okay. All right, so BBLG got to 170, 174. Still hasn't broken out yet.
BBLG, we'll see what happens. Crow, nice job here real quick. Yeah, we'll get to Oracle here in a sec, RFID. Hang on, we're still cleaning some stuff up. Nice trade here, Crow, on BBLG, out right at resistance there. That would have been one of those where I kind of kept a trailer on in case this breaks and goes ham. Volume really kind of telling you that is in the cards here today. It's definitely possible. Definitely possible. Okay, let's go chart Oracle here. That was also moving.
Yeah, the question was, where do we see resistance? Well, we're kind of in blue sky territory here, so it's going to probably be some kind of fib level. But what I can see right now is that on Friday we had a big old move up and then came right back in, and now we're inside that candle. So we're getting a bit of an inside candle right now. I'd say that the only resistance level you'd be wanting to pay attention to is that high from Friday, which was 173.94. Call it 174. And we're probably going to take if we're going to see some more upside, it's going to probably take a few more days as we see some of these inside green candles start building up and eventually break out of that high. Now, if that doesn't happen, which I'm kind of leading to believe that it won't, because the RSI is very extended. We're at 82 right now. I think this thing has to come back in a little bit first. And if we start to really sell off, you have to be mindful of this gap that starts at 153.12 and fills at 139.51. I'm not necessarily saying that that's what's going to happen, but right now this thing is very, very extended. I want to see this cool off a little bit, and then we can talk about where it's going to go.
And to your point, 13, one of the things that I said last week on Oracle for a potential long side trade, which we didn't get really, is a pullback down towards where this gap is, holding that area that sets us up for a floating island long swing here. This continued to run. So I agree with you. This upside definitely going to be a next resistance level here. I'd like this to pull back, maybe close some of the distance to those moving averages, cool the RSI off, cool the MACD off, and then set up for another move there.
All right. So as far as movers going, as far as the movers are going now, they let's see. NCNA is kind of sideways. DRMA is headed lower. ZNTL also sideways. Still hasn't broken down, but hasn't recaptured VWAP yet either. VRAX, this thing might be finding a bottom and trying to curl off of the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. And BBGL, this is still trying to get 175. The longer this takes for this to, as long as it holds up here and continues to push up, it might be able to get above 175, and it's trying to push right now. So I don't know how much we're going to get out of this if it does break 175. I still think that it could come back in pretty quickly, but there you are with BBLG. Remember, this had no news.
Okay. All right, let's go back here. Let's take a look at the SPY. Oracle continuing to move higher here. SPY, we are actually back above that trend line. We're up here near this triple top. 563.03 was your high from Friday. We'll see if we get back up there. It is 10 o'clock and it is Monday, so you know what that means. It is time for Matt Maley. Don't I have the guest thing here? Come on. We don't have it. Let me just bring him on. Matt, happy Monday. How are you? How was your weekend?
Very good weekend. Very good weekend.
Look, Matt, I thought the Patriots were going to go 2-0 there. I really thought the Patriots were going to go 2-0. Another strong game against Seattle.
Yeah. They look good. I mean, for a team that's supposed to be in coming last place, they had their chance. Got a blocked field goal late in the game, and that really hurt them. But it was it's still. It's weird because expectations were so long, so strong so high for so many years, and they're much lower now. So we'll see what happens going forward. But I'm still looking at Cincinnati there. They probably should have won that game against the Chiefs. So the Chiefs are not a lock this year. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
No, they're not. And I was absolutely rooting for them. I could not believe the way that game ended. Matt, the interesting part here, you're talking about the, Patriots, the bar was so high and then the bar was so low. You could actually apply that type of stuff to the market as well. We got a huge week coming up here with the Fed on Wednesday. We've got the SPY near all-time highs here. What do you make of where we're at right now in the market and what we might expect to see this week?
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. I mean, let's face it, not a couple of years ago, literally a year ago, whether it be this time last year or even 18 months ago, certainly at the beginning of the year, the expectations were for, consensus was looking for a recession. And now that's been completely flipped. Nobody's looking for a recession now. And the thing is that the way Wall Street works is that because these economists were so wrong for so long, they're not going to call for a recession until we're actually in one. This job security and stuff, there's nothing worse than, it's one thing to be bullish and wrong. If you're bearish and wrong, that's not real good for job security. So you're going to see these guys are going to stay very, very bullish until we're actually in a recession. So I guess my point is now we're coming into this big Fed meeting. Not only is the consensus that we're going to have a soft landing, but bullishness is much better, especially in the bond market. You look at bullish readings amongst futures traders; those are getting high, and you see that the bond market is getting very overbought. The TLT, the RSI, there is getting quite extended. It's not. It's been more overbought at times, especially we saw that when we had the flight to safety trade during the early August decline, when everybody was worried about the yen carry trade, and et cetera. It got a little bit more overbought than it is now, but it's still overbought. And the stock market is not wildly overbought like it has been a couple of times this year, but it is, reaching that levels after the big bounce back we saw last week. So I guess my point is that we are getting a little bit ripe for a sell the news reaction, no matter what the Fed does this week. So it's I'm not pounding the table saying, no, don't buy anything here or start getting short the market in a major way. But it's just my point is that the setup isn't conducive for a wildly bullish reaction to it, no matter what they report this week.
Okay, we were having a little bit of discussion earlier on the 25 versus 50 points. Where do you stand on that?
Well, I got to tell you, I was thinking 25 basis points because that's what the Fed has been telling us. But there's no question that they've gone out of their way to signal that a 50 basis points cut is possible. Nick Tamaros, who's referred to as the Fed whisperer, and he's been used in the past by the Fed when they're in their quiet period, which they are now, to leak things so the market can get set up for a bit of a different narrative than they were saying when they went into the quiet period. We also see Bill Dudley, the former New York Fed president. He was out on Friday in a speech on Friday saying that he thought that the Fed should go 50 basis points, and he reiterated that again this morning in an article he wrote for Bloomberg. And so they're definitely trying to push the narrative that way. So I'm starting to think that maybe it could be 50 basis points. But so on what does this mean? I mean, a month ago, if you'd said, "Boy, if they go 50 basis points, that's going to scare the heck out of everybody because it means that they're looking for a recession." But I think they've changed the narrative enough now to say, "Oh no, that won't necessarily mean that." So I don't know that the 50 basis points will hurt the market that much. But I don't know how much it'll help it either. A lot of Friday's rally was, or at least the credit was given to that change in the narrative. I'm not so sure that that's going to follow through again because the market's getting overbought, and especially the bond market. We're at levels now where it's going to be very, very difficult for long-term rates. Remember, the Fed has control over short-term rates, not over long-term bond yields. And so I just think it's going to be very difficult for bond yields to go a lot lower. So be careful about making those bets, for instance, on the housing stocks and stuff that, hey, if the Fed goes 50 basis points, long-term yields are going to go down. That means mortgage rates are going to go down. That means the home builders are going to go up. Be very careful about making trades like that.
Okay, real good stuff. You got something, 13?
Yeah, I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on future headwind that we have coming up here. Well, we do have this typhoon that's happening in Shanghai right now. I anticipate that's going to cause some supply chain disruptions. But we also have information about how some of the unions on the East Coast ports of the U.S. Could strike as early as October 1st. So I was wondering if you had heard that, and if so, how are you preparing for that kind of headwind? Should we end up getting that?
Well, I mean, it's funny how the markets don't seem to be concerned about that, and to a degree, I think a lot of times they view those, especially strikes, especially typhoons, as being short-term things, and we seem to get through them. So I guess my point is there's a lot of complacency surrounding these situations, which is probably a mistake. But again, it's an election year, and so you wonder how much liquidity will be provided in the system over the next 6 to 7 weeks as we move towards that election. I know the Fed's not supposed to be political, but we know how that's not necessarily the case. So I guess my point is I am concerned. I think there's way too much complacency in the marketplace. And so you need to be very, very careful here and stay very nimble. I guess my point, but at the same time, election years are not usually when you see big declines right before the election. Not always, but you usually don't. But I guess my real thinking is I do think there's a good chance that one of these issues, whether it be the ones you've mentioned or something in the Middle East, whatever, cause another a little bit of a pullback here in the September-October time frame, and then I'll probably get another buy low weakness opportunity. But as we move towards the end of the year, things are going to be a little bit dicier.
Okay, real good stuff there. We were just talking before you came on. We were actually just talking about how this week, 9/16 here, really kind of starts the poor seasonality period here in September that then does bleed into October. So we'll see if we get another opportunity to buy there. Matt, one thing I'm going to leave you with this. Yeah, last week when we talked to you, you had brought up General Dynamics on this possible breakout here. This is continuing, looking really, really good here. We definitely appreciate the call. No pressure here, but you have anything for us this week?
Well, the one thing to be careful about is Apple Computer. This stock is, they announced today, or it hasn't been announced today, but there's a story out there. Analysts are saying that there's weak demand for their iPhone 16 Pro, and which makes sense. I mean, a lot of this AI features aren't there. They're kind of saying, "Oh, don't worry, you will be able to put them in there as soon as they come up." And I think a lot of people are starting to think, "Well, why don't I just wait until they're actually there?" Either way, the demand, I guess, is weaker. Now, looking at the stock, and if you look at the weekly MACD chart, this is a concern. It is seeing a very slight negative cross. Now, it's only a very slight one so far, so it would have to be a more meaningful one for us to really raise a red flag. But remember, MACD crosses are signs of a change in trend. In the last 3 years, we've seen 4 other confirmed MACD crosses, negative MACD crosses. And they've been followed by declines of either between 14 and 26% in the stock. Now, Apple, NVIDIA and the chip stocks have been the more important leadership stocks in the tech area and in the overall market. So maybe if Apple breaks down, it won't be the worst thing in the world for the market. It's not going to be good for Apple holders. So be very, very careful. We may be making some negative bets in the chat room here soon on Apple if that negative cross on the weekly chart becomes a more prominent one, because this iPhone rollout and the rollout on their other products really wasn't met all that well. And if people start to really feel this is something that's not going well, especially as we're moving into that holiday selling season, you could see some more weakness in this stock. So again, I'm not sure what that will mean for the market, but it will not be good for the stock. So keep a close eye on that one.
Okay. I'm right there with you, Matt, and I'm also a holder of Apple as well, and I'm getting nervous that they're not innovating. Innovation for them has not been happening. That Google Glass is not anything that anybody should be getting excited about, and in fact, they're not. Meanwhile, you have competitors like Samsung and Huawei with their fold and trifold phones. So you have other competitors innovating. Apple's not. I'd be worried on that front with them as well, that they need to get some innovation going.
Great points.
All right, Matt, thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your week. Good luck with the Fed, and we'll talk to you on Monday.
Sounds great.
Thanks, Matt.
Take care. If you folks want to see more of Matt and you want access to Matt's chat room, I just posted a link in for the webinar or the Universe webinar in the chat below. Check it out. Matt is awesome. We are grateful that he shares his time with us here today. Really, really good stuff. Okay, let's get back to some of the action and what's going on here. Folks, what did I miss while we were talking to Matt? NCNA.
Yeah,
looks like.
I was trading that one. That one was starting to curl MACD nonetheless. And it was trying to hammer the VWAP. Finally got over it. We're trading above it now. Want to see it hold a little bit here and start to move it to take out 7.
Okay.
So if we, as long as we hold that, we should be good for more upside. But we are getting some upper shadows forming here. So not sure how robust that's going to be. Just need to let this play out a little bit more.
Okay.
And ZNTL, that's going south. DRMA, that's going sideways. There were some other ones I was looking at too. Looks like Arlay is well, it's still going sideways, but it looks like it wants to. This Arlay looks like it wants to try to break out, but we just need some volume. So watch that one. The other one that I was looking at was BBLG. That one kept trying to get above that pre-market high. Finally, did pop up above it, but it came right back in. And this is what I was worried about with this one in particular. We're going to get these pop and drops with BBLG. Sure enough. There's a whole row of upper shadows in this one. Now we're starting to put in a little bit of a red candle here. Don't want to say this is over yet, even though it looks like it's starting to roll over. But you got to be mindful of this one. That as soon as it gets over 175, the selling really starts to pick up.
Indeed, Crow had the resistance area here tagged, sold it right at resistance. Now it's coming back in. By the way, while you were mentioning that, NCNA did get that expanding volume that we were talking about. Look for this. It had kind of compressed earlier. We got it now, moving through the VWAP. Higher we go here, NCNA. Grats to anyone that was in that one. Got some green on the screen here today. That's how we start out a Monday, folks. Let's go. Actually, it looks like Tesla's bouncing back now as well. I know we were taking a look at some of these smaller movers. Let's take a look at Tesla. That did come off the low and holding above its VWAP. Joe, prepare yourself. I've got hollow on the board.
What's it doing?
It's going right to the highs. Right to the highs. MLGO was also getting shouted here. Quote, going to the moon, end quote. I'm not a huge fan of any of these penny stocks, but this one popping pretty good here for any of you trading MLGO. Wheeler also getting mentioned here. Crow Wheeler round 2 here today. We're waking up towards the top. Let's see if we break out that intraday high 750 next, maybe.
Sort of lost 8, but recaptured it. Low of 795 on the day. BBLG, that one's still starting to come back in. Testing VWAP at the moment. ZNTL, that one still looks like it could be going lower. Might find some support around 418.
BBLG will be interesting to see what happens at its VWAP here. RFID mentioning Apple. I got that right there, right? Apple. So this bought back what we lost here. But remember, we were down here in the pre-market on the back of this iPhone 16 news. So we'll see if it stops here, gets back above. I'd actually like to see this trade back up. I am not sure we're going to get that here today, though. I'm really not. And actually, looking at the SPY here, that's trying to go higher, but getting rejected right there. SMCI getting called by Robert. Haven't looked at that since this morning. Since the pre-market here, SMCI, this trying to go red to green on SMCI.
Yeah, I still think there's a possibility this goes to the 50-day SMA. And it might happen quick too. I'm looking to see if it happens this week.
Let me go to the bigger chart there. We can get that level there for you.
Just something I'm watching for.
Which one? Which level did you say? The 50? 624? Okay. This actually had a pretty nice positive MACD cross there. I know Matt was just talking about a negative MACD cross there for Apple. The opposite going on here in SMCI. That bounce has been moving so far, or that has actually moved it, I should say. NYCB higher here today. Exact Science is a little bit higher. I don't see much going on there. XCUR really can't get above its VWAP. In fact, both moves above the VWAP were straight up rejected. This actually might break down through too if it doesn't firm up here at all.
Wheeler just been a steady riser all morning. Steadily going up. Looks like 750 is next.
Here is Wheeler. So this high here, I mean, the high from Friday above both of the highs here for today. But Wheeler, I'll tell you what, this does look like this is going to try and go here.
All right. What else we got going on?
Oh, here we go. Chris, I'll give you a bad sign. SAVE is going to zero. That's ticker SAVE, which is, of course, Spirit Airlines. How can you possibly run that airline into the ground? The planes were full, no frills, minimum staff. I don't get it. Poor management will ruin a lot of companies, probably a lot of debt. This is an airline business, not a great business anyway. I'll tell you what, I've never heard good reports from Spirit. I don't know on this one. Not something that I'd want to own. Not in the business of shorting a $2 stock.
Yeah,
maybe
this
zero though.
Ever since that JetBlue merger fell through, this stock has not been doing well.
Nope. Straight down even.
Yeah, and it's got huge short interest, 29% with 10 days to cover. So it could squeeze. There's always that possibility. People could be looking at this and be like, wow, this thing's absolutely beaten up and it's at all-time lows. Let's buy it. and then just shoot this thing straight up. If there is a short squeeze, I'm not confident it would get much higher than 6.
Yeah.
But yeah, bad management, deal falling through. I think it was JetBlue that had the new CEO, but I'm not sure if Spirit did or not.
NCNA. So we had that nice little pop there. Again, folks, don't be afraid to take your gains. We are all the way back down here to VWAP on NCNA. And while this stock really isn't running away and giving one of those huge moves here, we've had several moves that were tradable to the long side here on NCNA, as long as you're willing to take those gains off the table and book them. We'll see if this sets up for another one here. Use your levels on this. Watch volume flow. Wheeler getting mentioned in the chat. Wheeler is higher here. There we go. We are above Friday's high here on Wheeler. Grats to all of you that were trading Wheeler here today. That one was not on my list, but working out.
Oh, that ex-girlfriend was just doing well. Good to hear she's doing well.
Yeah, we love to hear that people are doing well. That's for sure. Zillow here. Zillow here. This is, of course, one of the home, or this is not a home builder, but this in the real estate sector. We're talking about that rates coming in and housing being, more kind of in vogue here. Zillow, actually a pretty decent breakout. Chris, are you trading this? I can't remember if you have a longer term or maybe a swing position on this one. Remind me here. This actually looks like this can go higher here. Looks like a decent breakout here. Good morning, Mike. Great to see you. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully you had yourself a great weekend. BioNTech holding its move higher here. Sats, Gevo.
Been a little bit thin with the trading.
Yeah, it sure is. Wheeler really kind of giving the best move right now. NCNA, maybe this gives another one. Okay, so you're in the long-term portfolio. Okay. Zillow in the long-term portfolio. Well, those are some pretty good ads, and Zillow was down here at the lower level there. So
great job on Wheeler. Man, this thing is ripping now.
Yeah, sure was. Crows all over that one.
It is. It's ripping right now.
No, I'm sorry, the call. You had said great job. I was referring to the call. My apologies.
Yeah, I'm starting to look at some of these other ones from the last week to see if they're providing any setups. Looks like MCRB has some kind of setup, but the volume's not. Actually, never mind with that one. That one might be rolling over. Just Wheeler's pretty much the one on the list right now. INBS had a move, but that one might be over. SMX,
XCUR at a consolidation level. Maybe watch this if it curls. Got it room up to the VWAP. I'll tell you what, if you take this trade for a curl trade here, when it gets to the VWAP, that's your sell zone, at least partial. We have been unable to get above that. Hey, look, MCRB, the lotto ticket showing up on the scanner here. Nice little volume pop back above $1. Crow here saying, not really liking anything else. We'll wait for power hour. We'll have some beers until then. It is 9 o'clock in the morning, and Crow is out here hitting the beers.
I have had a breakfast beer before, too.
Hey, those are the good days, right?
Yeah.
Those are the good days, and you're cracking open breakfast beers.
Steak, eggs, and a breakfast beer.
Oh, that actually reminds me, speaking of beer, so does anyone in here, we have a lot of Wisconsinites. We ought to know. I had Spotted Cow beer for the first time when I went to Milwaukee on Thursday evening, and it was absolutely delicious. From what I understand, they only sell it in Wisconsin, and they do not ship it anywhere else. So be curious to know what you folks have any thoughts there on Spotted Cow beer. It was really, really good.
Oh,
really, really good. Love me some cow, says Fairchild. That is someone from Wisconsin. That is without a doubt.
BBLG could be worth a watch here. It's getting some VWAP support, trying to turn around. Wants to take out that 175 and go higher. 182 is the intraday high, but 175 has been the big area of resistance. So watch and see if we get some more of a push in this one.
We'll see if we end up getting it there.
All right, and let's see what else we have moving here.
Wheeler, I'd like this to flush back down to its VWAP and set up. By the way, NCNA broke away from its VWAP here. Last time we came down to 6, we've actually bounced twice from there. So there's still another spot to watch for a potential bounce.
Summit curling. Oh, man, is it coming back?
Oh, baby. We're going to get Summit to start ramping.
Let's see.
Let's see if this can cross through its VWAP here on Summit. Let me take a look at a 15-minute chart.
Yeah, I'd be looking at 3150 if it can recapture VWAP.
Yeah, Summit came right down to its after hours. This was Thursday, right? Yeah. Thursday there. AT&T on the relative volume scanner. That's not AT&T ripping higher. Not used to saying that, but here we are.
Wonder what this is on about. But you know, these communications like AT&T and Verizon, they've been doing really well, especially with that ASTS launch. That's going to help them as well.
Barclays sticks to its buy rating on AT&T. ASTS, that's not a stock I've pulled up here yet today. Let me go ahead and do that. We're down almost 3.5% here on ASTS. What happened?
And you know, it's also going to be good for companies like these that have a lot of debt, especially AT&T. They're going to likely look to refinance that as rates go lower. Don't think they're going to be reinstating their dividend or you know, restoring the amount they cut back in 22. I don't think they'll be restoring that anytime soon. Still has a good dividend though. It's just that it's run so much. Probably be worth selling into this or taking some profits if you've been in it. Yeah, it still has a monster dividend even after it was cut in half. But it the stock has run. Verizon's dividend's good too.
Chris saying, pretty sure T pays over 5%. Yeah, actually, I think it's, I just had that up here. I think it wasn't it 6 though? 5, yeah, almost 6%, 5.94%, almost 6%. That was right on there.
Yep. All right.
NCNA, let's see if we curl back through the VWAP here. BBLG flagging above its VWAP. Penny stock MLGO back to its VWAP. Drama just more lows.
Drama is just drama.
It is what it is. I mean, it is what it is. We've seen that before. Not our first rodeo here with drama. That's for certain.
Yeah, as we get those rate cuts, those leverage names are going to end up doing well. So you'll probably see the miners end up doing well. Some of these oil drillers doing much better. All the leverage names. Sorry.
BBLG, Manitza, you're all good. It might be trying to pop here. 172 looks to be the spot. 182, the intraday high print. We'll see if we have a trade in that range. I do see some size here stacked up on the 172, a little bit less on 171. See if this can actually push through that. Would like to see the volume kind of expand here for a potential trade on BBLG as well.
It is just really tough to find something that, well, look at this. GRRR has been having a pretty decent morning. Not up too much, but had a pop drop and then it took off. 390 is the intraday high. What else is moving? INBS. This one looks like it might want to try and go higher if it can hold VWAP. BNRG.
These names. BNRG. Oh, good old BNRG. Bren Miller. Where are we at here on Bren Miller?
That's where we're at.
Okay, down here at 115.
A big old whopping 15-cent moves this morning.
So this thing really came back in off that pop that we traded not long ago. Yeah. 13. I'll be right back. Just give me 1 sec.
No worries. RFID, you're losing on the ZNTL. I have a hard time accepting losses, trading out of them. Darn. Yeah, and it's, I hate to say it, man, but sometimes the losses are part of the game. Minimize the downside, helps you with your with the ultimate upside. You don't want to stay in things too long, because then we get this kind of action. Now we're at the 65 EMA and ZNTL right now on a 5-minute. We lose that. I think we have 367 on the docket. I don't want to tell you how to trade, but I know it's hard taking losses. That was hard for me too at one point. But if it looks like it's a win, it's going to be more of a win if you can recognize that it's it's a losing trade and you get out of it without losing too much. I still think that's a win, to be able to recognize that and protect yourself. Nuclear's owners seem committed to local ownership. They've been up. NCNA refuses to give up. Was it given up? Yeah, it's just sideways all morning, pretty much, huh?
Which one?
NCNA.
NCNA. Hey, look, like I said earlier, though, it has pretty much been sideways. But look, there were a couple of areas here where it held, and it gave you some pretty decent trades, especially if you're able to hit these volume pops.
Yeah, it's at some
we
point
hit the last two.
If it holds, this area, like this sideways area that's been doing, and can still recapture VWAP, it looks like 7 really is the big level to get over. Ever since the pre-market, like the last time we dipped beneath it, recapturing 7 has been a problem. 1, 2, 3 times since pre-market have we been trying to get back above that level, and has been rejected each time. Some point, I think we'll get above it and hold above it, and if we do, then I'd be looking to go into the 8 handle. All right.
BBLG coming back to its VWAP, it looks like here. MLGO, no good there. CRX.
VRAX looks like it's going lower. Might find some support at 250.
That VRAX chart. I don't see any long side trades on that VRAX chart at all.
Looks like SPY is dropping again. Look at this. Look at this action. We drop, consolidate, rally, consolidate, drop.
Who was it earlier that said, I think the market's having a tough time picking a direction? I feel like that just happened. I can't seem to find it here.
Brittany Tall has some great advice here. If you're having a hard time with trading, or maybe you're not and you're still doing really well, either way, I think this is a great idea to have a trade journal, or at least review your trades every day, so that you can see where you've done well, where you've done wrong, and you can take a note of that and prepare yourself for the next time you're doing trades. It'll be like, oh, okay, I've been here before. I know what happened last time I tried this. It didn't work, and you'll end up creating better outcomes for yourself that way. I think that's great advice, Brittany.
Absolutely. And this is one of the reasons why we kind of, this is where the whole joke about the ex-girlfriend label comes in, right? These are things that we're familiar with, so we should know how to trade them. Also, really quickly, there is a notes feature here in Benzinga Pro that will automatically date and timestamp your notes. I've used this as a trading journal, especially when I'm kind of learning a specific stock and I'm figuring out how it trades here. So it can be built into some of the software that you might already have. There's also some other software out there that has some pretty good features layered on top of it to help you analyze it. I agree with Brittany here. Reviewing what you were doing always going to be helpful for making better decisions in the future. And thank you. It was Nick Sanders that's saying the market doesn't really want to pick a direction. Indeed, we're just kind of chopping around here. Lower we go currently on the SPY though, 560 up. Yeah, this is another really important point Robert's bringing up. Yeah. Compare yourself to yourself. Don't compare yourself to others. I mean, when I first got started here and I was watching people that were, very, very helpful and knowledgeable, talking about taking 10, 15, 20K positions, making 10, 20, 30K in a day, I was trying to compare myself to that. It just wasn't feasible. So no matter what it is, your type of trading, the balance that you're trading with, the types of trades, comparing your performance to yourself and not others, always the way to go. Shout out, Robert. Really good piece of advice there.
Yeah, getting to that point where you're trading that much and making that much, that takes time. Don't think you have to obligate yourself to get there as soon as possible. This is your money. You're trading here, and you gotta protect yourself. You don't want to give yourself the false sense that you can just imitate what those folks are doing. It takes time, it takes experience, it takes education. Just be careful with when you're learning new ways to trade, and employ them when they've actually worked out in your testing.
Jonathan mentioning having expanding volume here. I'm late to this one, but indeed, this is right. This actually looks like a nice little move. Clean little breakaway here from this 360 area. Volume really started to pick up. I have a high print here in the pre-market. Got that at about 421. See if that takes that out.
So, wow, I haven't realized that Disney had this kind of movement over the past few trading days. It recaptured the 20-day SMA, the 90-50 level that I had, and the 50-day SMA. This is looking pretty good right now. And I hope, let's see, who was just saying that?
It was Chris, I think.
Christopher, yeah. I'm hoping the same thing, because if they can get their content ironed out and get rid of all the the things that make it less appealing, that'd be great news for them. I'd be looking forward to seeing what this one can do. Let's see if we can get back up to 95, and once that happens, that would give us kind of a wonky looking inverse head and shoulders, but we could be resolving to the upside if we can recapture that level and break out of there. 97.50 would be my next upside target after that.
There you go on Disney. As we were talking, there's SPY flushing to the lows here. So SPY kind of coming in. Nice little flush down there on volume. Take a look at some of the other indexes here as well. Here is the Qs doing the exact same thing. IWM, which is where the strength was earlier, this has now rolled over to the lows. Take a look at the diamonds here. DIA, this flat, but everything kind of rolled over here.
Yeah, I think somebody was mentioning, okay, so yeah, Pro had mentioned DRMA. This did appear to find some support. I was looking at the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. That has been helping this out pretty well. Next step is to recapture VWAP, which I currently have at 239. Looks like IMRX had more of a pop. It's like I like the chart, but the amount of price, that the amount of movement that it's had is so small. You'd have to be in here with a large amount of shares in order to get a whole lot out of this.
I'll tell you what, this Wheeler tried to tease a curl here and is rolling right back over to the VWAP there. Careful there on Wheeler. You might want to wait that one out till it firms up. Here is your IMRX chart.
Yeah, so the chart looks nice, but it's moved like what, 15, 20 cents? Very, very small amount, unless you have a lot of shares in there.
A lot of stuff turning around here. Bitcoin at the lows, Netflix at the lows. The VIX did pop a little bit here, 17.5, although it's not really running away. Tesla kind of rolled over after its bounce. Oil's up about 2.3% here.
Oh, Christopher, you're mentioning Bloom Energy.
Bloom Energy, BE.
Yeah. We know about that one. Let's take a look here at the chart and see what we can get.
This is Bloom Energy, I believe, is a data center play. They do some energy for data center usage here. Chris goes on to say, I believe it's got a short float. They converted a blend of fuels into electricity using a non-combustion technique. First of all, Bloom Energy here, 29% of its float traded, 12 days to cover, definitely has some high short interest here. What did you have there, 13? Sorry about that.
I was going to just say that exactly that. Now let's look at the financials here. What's okay? So this is losing money.
175 million a quarter, 581 million still on the balance sheet there. So just a couple of quarters of runway.
Yeah. So I mean, this for me would be not just the data center play, but any news that on maybe data centers or some other company tapping this company for products or what have you, that's going to squeeze this thing. I'd be looking at this as a short squeeze play. Summit with some movement now. That just blasted over BWAP.
By the way, Bloom here kind of at a support level. If you're talking about that short interest play. Okay, let me bring up Summit here. So it had a nice little curl on Summit. Was there any news or anything on this? Just kind of a move back up?
Yeah, I don't think there was news on it. It's just kind of rebounding off the morning weakness. I don't know how much it runs, but this is, got a lot of eyes on it. So a lot of folks are trading it.
Yeah, the company announced data for the novel potential first-in-class investigational bispecific antibody and presented it at its annual meeting. So down 2.5% here after being higher on that data news earlier.
And that wasn't recycled or old news?
It might have been, but that's just what was going on here. This went lower here. It's still holding lower, although it is above its VWAP. So maybe you will get another intraday trade here.
Maybe it's the PESG report saying that Summit threatens to dethrone Merck's Keytruda. We already knew about that too.
Yeah, I was going to say that was kind of the rehashed thing from before.
But I think the fact that there's a whole other report on how that's going to, or why that's going to happen.
Oh my God.
That's going to happen. That could really, oh geez.
Look at Ree. This was mentioned earlier. We were a little late to this here. I take responsibility for that one. Nick, I think you were on this. Who else called Ree earlier? This was a great one. This really did move. Nice job, Nick. Hopefully you hit this one. No trade on this one for me, unfortunately.
Yeah, Chris, I see the 228 million outstanding shares and 142 million in the float. I don't think this will reverse split just because it's got to kind of be at risk of losing compliance. And at this price, I don't think that's necessarily the case. It would be nice to have a smaller supply so this could trade better. Of course, yes, I agree with that. But I don't know that they're going to do a reverse split when you're trading almost at $10 a share. Let me see something here. Look at if they've done any splits. No, they haven't. So I don't know. That might be the unfortunate reality with this one is that they don't need to do a reverse split. If they go under $1, then yes, absolutely.
JBDI, this was a nice little ramp here. I missed this one too, Crow. Volume kind of low on this name. 286,000 shares have traded on this move. That's up 43%. There's a big move up on low volume. Careful on this one if you do trade this.
This IPO'd last month? Yeah. This has been on the market for less than a month. Went from 5 to 38 in less than a month.
I mean, wild stuff. DKNG on the scanner here. Don't really understand why. This kind of looks like it's topping here. Actually, it looks like a little bit of a head and shoulders there on the 15-minute, to be quite honest with you. Restoration Hardware still being an absolute beast.
I wonder why. Oh. Well, no, that's I think that might be far-fetched. I wonder. I'm just kind of thinking about why a company that makes steel drums, plastic drums, IVCs, container, shipment products, why would it be running today? And it was like, oh yeah, well, there's that typhoon in Shanghai. I don't think that's exactly the reason why this is moving, but kind of wondering if it might have something to do with it. Just a thought, me trying to connect the dots.
Hey, I appreciate it. I love the thought process out loud. That's where it's at.
Summit still going. 3150 was the high, I believe. 3154.
Nice little move on that VWAP cross.
Everything else we were looking at this morning still going down. NCNA, that's still sideways.
Yep. NCNA, it's worth, we talk about this quite a bit. Worth keeping on your radar here. We actually just popped and tested that VWAP. Couldn't really get above it. Watch this one, though. This could be one of our movers, especially if that volume continues to expand here. Here we go, NCNA. Are we going to run here? Here we go. Another pop. See if they slam this back beneath VWAP here. No position for me right now in this. No position right now. This is Crow saying this is his main watch. It has been holding the support well. I've traded this twice today for a gain. No position currently.
Yeah, and for me, it's not so much the VWAP that they have to get past; it's $7.
Okay, yeah.
That's been the big line in the sand all morning for this one that I can see. And yes, the VWAP pops and drops are also, also at a rejection of 7. But we did get one earlier this morning around 10 o'clock where it held above VWAP, then moved past 7, and then it was rejected. So looking to see if we reject here at VWAP or if we move up to 7 and get rejected there.
Look at Oracle. Oracle going higher here today. This has been strong all morning for anyone trading Oracle. No position on this one for me either, unfortunately.
What does the daily look like? Okay, so we still have an inside candle with that one. So that's still the same thing applies. This thing has an inside candle. RSI is at 83 now.
Yeah.
Be careful with this one. It might take a few days to break out of this one if it even does that. But with how extended the RSI is, this one needs to cool off a little bit. Be careful.
Vaccine stocks going higher here. BNTX and Moderna both going higher here.
Interesting.
JP Morgan had a price target raise on this. So did Wainwright. Bank of America.
And Pfizer also had some phase 2 data.
Yeah, Moderna, same thing. Barclays maintaining an overrate. Oh, these are lowering the price target, though. Interesting.
Here we go with NCNA above VWAP now. We're going to knock on the door of 7. What I'd be looking for. Knock, knock, knocking on 7's door. And SQQQ with a little bit of a pull, but it might be turning around. We'd love to see this market actually get a real correction in so we can ultimately rip up higher. I know I have to keep repeating that because I am not bearish. I'm just short-term bearish. I want a healthy market to go higher.
Same.
Can't get that without some pullback.
Same thing I'm looking for.
All right. IMRX. That's over 2 now. That broke out of 2 is what happened. All right. Well, what are we all looking at? Because things are pretty. What's up? Go ahead.
I was going to say things have really kind of slowed down, and like I mean, just kind of looking at Tesla, like this to me is a really, really tight range for Tesla. We're used to seeing this move around quite a bit. We're not really doing that. Even Apple, right? It kind of bought back off its lows and staying in that range. Not a whole lot going on. I mean, we might be in one of these cycles, 13, where traders are just kind of waiting for the Fed on Wednesday again.
Cool.
Which means. Go ahead. Sorry,
I was going to say that could mean that Tesla might just trade in this range, 226, 232. Those are my levels I have at the area it's in, and they've been getting some pretty faithful action in between those two areas. A little bit lower this morning with Tesla out of that range, but we're in it, back in it now. If we start to get the buyers to come in Tesla, I think it could take it up back to 232. Would be something to watch for.
BBLG is trying to curl and go through its VWAP. So far, it's getting rejected. Volume's kind of low, so if this volume expands, we might go through that there. BBLG.
NCNA.
Anthony saying everyone's waiting. That's what it feels like.
NCNA could not get to 7. Went back under the VWAP.
Okay, we'll see if BBLG gets the same type of rejection here at its VWAP. You were just talking about that $7 level that we had outlined.
T-Non's crazy pre-market move on Friday. Sure, I'll take a look at that.
There's that rejection and pull that 13 was just talking about. T-Non is what you want me to look at?
we were getting asked about the pre-market move. It looks to me, I mean, just from the technical standpoint, it looks like T9 when the market opened, it rallied to VWAP and then came right back down. And this could not recapture VWAP the entire day.
This feels like kind of a box job, doesn't it?
Well, let's take a look at some news and see what I can get from reading that.
They had an offering, 4.5 million public offering on Friday. The news, the PR actually came out Thursday night.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
So it looks like this was just kind of like a manipulated mess.
Okay. Yeah, for their cardiol there. Okay. Well, no, that's a different one. That's cardiol. That's not T9.
$4 to $130. That's an HKD like move right there. BBLG, by the way, this is moving through its VWAP, folks. The volume. Maybe this is the start of the volume expansion. Volume holding there. We'll see if more buying volume comes in here.
T9, it did the 1-for-8 reverse split. Then it raised cash, so now it can move on to their next, I guess, clinical trial. Let me double check and see what this does exactly. Oh yeah, it's the medical devices. So that would be what they're raising cash for. To advance Sacrolia. It's a joint system.
Yeah, they're annoying. They're annoying to try and read and pronounce.
Well, when you put that many vowels together, anyway.
See, what had happened was, yeah, totally get it. BBLG going here, folks. Going here. Nice little scalp through the VWAP action there.
Yeah, Michael.
BBLG.
T9, when it does the reverse split, that makes the float much smaller, so it's going to make it easier to run.
Yeah, and real quick here, sure. Who said that? Offering sure, but it ran to 130. Like I said, I think that's kind of just the shenanigans being played in the pre-market session. You didn't see any type of movement that even resembled that in the regular session. Just that's kind of what I said. It was a manipulated mess. I don't know if there's anything really kind of tradable off that. You just have to be lucky to catch that one.
Yeah, I mean, when I have a float of 427,000 shares,
yeah,
it's going to run easy.
Yeah,
especially in the outside of the regular session when there's no volatility halts or anything to. The only thing that you can actually stop from trading is when the company requests it. So. Or the listing agency stops it. So other than that, it's just free reign in the pre-market and after hours.
JBDI halted to the upside here, so it looks like this did kind of roll back over to the VWAP, didn't get there, bought right back up to those highs and now halted here. JBDI.
All right, market, what are you doing?
Again, just kind of chopping here, and let me take a look at the oops.
GRRR just keeps grinding.
I like that 13. I like what you did there, grinding. 9 million shares traded in the SPY. 9 million. That includes the opening print. Boy, that is a low volume day. That is for sure.
Last week we traded this one, OBLG. This is oblong. This morning it had a pop to 636 and it came back in, and now it's been consolidating, trying to recapture VWAP all morning. I don't know if it's going to do it, but if it does, once it gets starts closing over VWAP, could end up being a runner. BBLG. Still trading. It's trading above VWAP now.
Mm-hmm. It's actually holding here. It's a bit under it here at 160. It's not a whole lot, though. They can take that if they want to. But it's doing a decent job holding here. We'll see if we go higher. Alcoa's higher here. Vuzi. This actually might be trying to roll higher here on Vuzi.
Yeah, it's now back above the dollar and holding it. Looks like with this one, I mean, this is very little volume still, but as far as an intraday trade, it looks like 114 is level they're shooting for. That's the pre-market high.
This came all the way back into the VWAP on re. Although it is holding that area, I guess we could see if we can move through it again here.
Oh. IMRX still making slow moves to the upside. What's this one doing? That's penny stock.
ZNTL, pretty big disappointment on ZNTL here today. NCNA still doing a decent job holding above 6. Mike trimming some Moody. You'll love to see that. Voozy.
Though that stock is sure to make anybody moody.
Anthony, love this discipline here. You'll get shouted for discipline like this all the time. Don't make it harder on you than it needs to be. Walking away, no positions. Don't like the way this market feels. See everyone tomorrow. Good luck. That's a really smart way to approach things, Anthony. We'll be here again tomorrow. Yeah. One more thing. I know you guys were talking about me getting canceled and all of that stuff. I'm going to make a commitment right here. I'm going to make 13. I didn't talk about this with you ahead of time, so you feel free to chime in as much or little as you want. I will say that if I were to ever get canceled from this, the very next day, I would start it up again under my own banner. And 13, you'd be invited.
Cool.
So there we go, folks. You don't ever have to worry about a long-term cancellation. Glad we solved that in a heartbeat right there.
Yeah, and if that ever happens, I'll just open up a Discord channel and we'll just start posting stuff there.
Yep. We'll be there all day. Discord, stream. Don't worry, folks. We got you covered. We don't build communities for no reason.
Yeah, let me put it to you this way. The market would have to end in order for us to not be coming around anymore. So when that day happens.
And let's face it. I don't think that is happening.
And I don't think that day's happening.
I don't think that is. Fairchild, Jonathan, real support. We love you. We love all of you. We love all of you. And that's the thing. RFID trader here saying trading is life. The reality is once you do this, once you kind of get involved with this, once you kind of run into some challenges and then get through them, it really just kind of motivates you more. You get to a point where it's like, I will at least be connected in some way till the day that I die. Even if I'm not actively trading, I'm going to have a dividend portfolio. Look at Lysy, by the way, going here. I'm going to have a dividend portfolio. I'm going to do all these things. I'm going to stay connected, stay educated, even if you're not active. You don't have to worry about that, Amanda. I actually have a condo right now that overlooks a golf course. And as much as I love it, you will, like I was just saying, you will always see me connected to the market here.
He'd tell us his stock picks, and then he'd say, now watch this drive.
Now watch this drive. That's a good, that's the Bush. That's the Bush video. That one is, I'll tell you what, there are some funny ones out there. That one might be my favorite. What does he say? We're going to crush Al Qaeda. Now watch this drive.
Now watch this drive.
I was bombing the drives, actually. That was probably the best part of my game on Friday. Looking around here. What? Say again?
I was just saying, dang, Robert, he spent 8 years. You pretty much have a PhD in this now. Spiro Bill, best way to get in touch with me is to talk to me on Pro. I don't use social media.
Yeah, here you go. So one of the reasons 13 is so happy on a regular basis is because unlike us clowns, he does not expose himself to the cesspool that social media can be. And I'm not signaling out one site, service, or side of an issue. Wheeler, by the way, through the VWAP here might be going. But I'm going to help 13 plug his availability. First of all of you should sign up for Benzinga Pro. If you haven't, I'm not sure what you're doing. But if you open up the chat, we actually have a chat room called Happy Hour. And in this chat room, 13 is the moderator. And 13 does a great job interacting with people throughout the course of the day, during this show, after this show, and then even sometimes in the evening. So this is where you can communicate with him and the rest of the group. mind you, right here in Benzinga Pro, the happy hour chat room. Lots of great stuff in here.
If I ever do leave, how you find me? If that ever happens, I'll
we'll make sure.
Yeah,
we'll make sure.
I won't just disappear.
Nope. And I'll say this, as long as 13 doesn't decide to hate me, which I don't think is going to be the case, you can always reach out to me and I will help pass along messages to 13.
Yeah. Looking for BBLG to start doing something here. It's been having a nice 15-20 minutes, and like it wants to try to push up to go beyond that 175 that it's been trying to get above all morning.
Yeah, real quick, Crisp Biscuit saying the second assassination attempt was a crazy non-mentionable event. That it is indeed crazy. It makes me really, really sad. But one of the things that we have kind of focused on here is any news we will try to relate to the market. I'll be honest with you, 13, you let me know. I can't really see any type of market connection from those events that took place yesterday. Yeah, I'm sure everyone has their own thought on it, but if it's not something that can be distilled down to something tradable, that's why we're not covering it. Wish I had more to give you on that, honestly.
Only DJT came to mind, and it had some movement this morning, but it's down much lower now. So yeah, I don't think that there's really anything impactful that we could draw on from that and trade it in the market.
Yeah. Yep. And I mean, and like I said, the focus here is going to be stocks that are moving. We actually were given opportunities here this morning, despite the slowdown. We were given opportunities here this morning. So that's why if we can't help you make money off of it, we're going to focus on the things we can help you make money off of. As sad as it is, whatever your thoughts on it are, if you can't make money off of it, we're probably going to focus on what you can make money off of. And HB, we really appreciate these nice comments. We do try to be humble. We're regular people just like you. None of us are flat. You're not going to see 13 and I flying down the street, blowing by pedestrians and Lamborghinis and not obeying the traffic laws. It's just not how things work.
As much as it would be, as fun it would be to drive one, I don't think I'd want to own one of those. It's just the whole thing about depreciating assets.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like you know how many dividend stocks I could buy for the price of a Lamborghini? You know how many dividend stocks that pay me to own it? Oh, forget about it. Anyway, folks, it is 11 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining us here today. We are going to be done here for the day, but we are going to be back tomorrow. Just a reminder, we are not canceled. We are here for you. 13, any closing comments for the group?
Oh, it's great to be back, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Remember, this week, low volume amount of trading. There's the Asian holiday. We also have the FOMC meeting on Wednesday. So be careful this week. If you don't feel like it's worth trading, it probably isn't. Sit on your hands. It's probably a better decision than trying to force things. I'll see you tomorrow.
Good stuff, 13. We will see you tomorrow. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused, everybody.